Hello, welcome to Tabletop CP, and today we're going to take a look at the newly completed 8th Army project. So it feels good to be done. It's been a whirlwind project. It's taken me 2.5 months to get this done. Started on September 1st. It is now November 14th. So really quick turnaround on these guys. Speed painting method all the way, and I'm happy with the way the project turned out. So let's go ahead and take a closer look. Alright, so we'll start on the left and work our way across. And here we have the big guns. So we have three guns. We have two AT guns and a howitzer. This gun and this gun are from the 8th Army box. This gun I ordered separate. So the first gun we have is our 6-pounder. Let's kind of show all these real quick. Let's have the 2-pounder, which in bolt action, not great, but in chain of command, it is pretty good. And then lastly we have our 25-pounder, which is just good all around in every game that it's in. So each of these have 3 crew. I have built more crew to add to the crews of these weapons for when we're playing chain of command. So chain of command, these would be 5-man crew plus a leader. So the 3 plus 2 more guys, and then I built 2 officers to be the gun crew leaders. So now we have a legally crewed 6-pounder, and then we can add the rest of the crew here to either one of these. So I can field 2 of these guns fully crewed in chain of command. And then, as of course, in bolt action, they're just 3-man crews. And then we also have a field artillery tractor for just general purpose towing or whatever needs to be done. Just cool little vehicle to have. So those are our big guns. Here we have our platoon and company level support weapons. So starting off up here we have a sniper. So I built this out of the 8th Army box. I took some arms from the USMC kit for the spotter, stole the scope from the Fallschirmjäger kit to add it to the rifle to make a sniper rifle. So we have our sniper team, good in both games of course. Then up here we have 2 2-inch mortars, because you always want to have 2 2-inch mortars. So there's the first one. And here is the second one. We also have 2 boys AT rifles. These are good in bolt action. These are really good for claiming objectives and sniping off veterans and stuff like that. Not super good for taking out tanks, but they have their uses in that game, and they're good in chain of command as well. And in the back here we have the first of our British guys. So most of these weapons crews I just left as British, as you noticed with the big guns. That's mainly because I was too lazy to try to do a head swap, and some of the sculpts for the weapons crews are quite small compared to the plastic Sikhs that I use. So we have our Vickers medium machine gun team here, and then lastly we have the 3-inch mortar team, and they have a Sikh spotter. I think I took these arms from the German Grenadier kit, the binoculars and then the map. So Sikh spotter there for the mortar, and that is the platoon weapons teams. And over here we have 4 sections. So these are 10-man sections. These are what they would be in bolt action. These are what they would be in chain of command as well. Chain of command would actually be two teams. So you'd have a 6-man rifle team and a 3-man Bren team, and then a leader with an SMG. So we have 4 of these. So chain of command, we use 3 of them. We'll be able to bring a 4th one as a support option. In bolt action, we can bring 3 of them and even have a free one in one of the selectors, Sikh infantry selector. Or we could just run 4 of them, or we could run 3 of them and use the rest to do other things. So just a lot of versatility with having lots and lots of guys like this, but mainly they're going to be run in 4 sections. Then over here we have an engineer section that I made. So this is the only guys that I did any kind of modifications on, I'll say. Well, that's not true. I'll show you the rest that have modifications in a second, but the most modifications went into these guys, and mainly it went into this flamethrower team here. So I just did a little green stuff, wrapped some green stuff around a pen and put it on his back, used the 2-inch mortar arm, and then I even green stuffed the hose as well. So it's not super great work. I'm not good with green stuff, but I think it gets the point across as a flamethrower team. And then just to differentiate them from the regular guys, I stole some packs from the USMC box that had shovels, just to kind of denote that they're engineers. This guy's got a pick. And then lastly, the leader is a guy with a rifle, and these are also arms from the USMC box. So a small engineer team. Here we have our headquarters elements. So this is the other place where I did some minor kit bashing, and that's some head swaps. And I did a head swap on the medic. So this was the 8th Army HQ medic. I just cut his head off and put a Sikh head. These sculpts are a little bit bigger than some of the weapons teams, so the head swap actually looks really good on it. But I definitely wanted to have a Sikh medic. This is another guy I did a head swap on. He was just a generic guy. I believe he's supposed to be some kind of NCO in the 8th Army HQ box. So I put a Sikh head on him, and he will be the platoon sergeant in chain of command. This guy, meanwhile, will be the platoon leader lieutenant in chain of command. So he's got the whistle, he's got his pistol. So we have 2 senior leaders there. Moving on, I have my 2-man team on single base for my lieutenant in bolt action. So these guys are going to be armed with SMGs. And then I have just an extra SMG guy back here to play the role of the lieutenant should one of the guys get killed. And then lastly, we have our FO. It's kind of an interesting model. It's a guy feeding a monkey on his radio. So this will be our free observer, or our 81mm mortar or battery spotter in chain of command. And then lastly, we just have this guy here, who can be a generic crewman. He can be an officer of higher rank, like a captain or a major in bolt action, or just generic whatever I want him to be. So just a nice model to have. And that is the HQ element. And lastly, we have all of the vehicles. So we have a ton of vehicles. These are all from my buddy Padilla. He 3D printed all these and sent them to me. So thanks to Greg for that. Got them all very quickly, cheaply, and painted them up very fast as well. So up here we have a Vickers Mark 6 platoon. And we have 2 different turret varieties. We got the heavy machine gun turret variety, 2 of those. And then we have 2 of these autocannon. I believe it's an autocannon, or a light autocannon, or a light AT gun. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but we got an option to run 2 of those as well. So nice little marker, Vickers Mark 6 platoon. Then here we had my 2 favorite models that I made. I did some kit bashing on these. These are India pattern carriers. And I did put the crew in, so I did use 4 of the guys from the box to make 2 crew. So the gunner, he's using the arms from the prone Bren guy in the box, just on a pintle. And then I made a guy as the driver as well. Basically I had to cut him into little pieces. I cut him in half, cut his arms off just to get him in there to fit in the steering wheel. But overall these things came out really cool. I really like the way they look, and I think they're going to be a lot of fun in the game. Then we have a few armored cars. So the first is the Morris CS9 armored car. It has a boy's AT rifle that I just glued in there from the kit, from the plastic sprue. I ran out of guys, sadly, because I wanted to put a model in there manning the gun, but I just didn't have any more to do that with. So it's just going to be looking like that, uncrewed, but it is a boy's AT rifle on it. Then I got 2 of these Marmon Harrington armored cars. I have one that has the autocannon and then a machine gun. These are just plain desert camo, or no camo, just desert color. And then this one here has a couple of, looks like medium machine guns on it. So these will be decent vehicles in either game, as they're going to be closed topped and insusceptible, is that a word, to small arms fire. Moving back here, we have 2 Valentines. So these are done with just some basic camo with putty, nothing special. So 2 of these guys here, these are the 2 light AT gun variants. And then we have 1 close support turret variant to go with it as well. And then moving on, here are a couple of different tanks. So these are A9 cruiser tank. And this has my poor man's Cantor camo on it. But it looks decent, I think. It gets the point across as being Cantor camo. This one's pretty interesting. It has 2 machine gun turrets on the front, plus a coax MG, plus the light AT gun. And then we have a A10, which is very similar to it, except minus the AT, or except minus the 2 machine gun turrets. up at the front. But this one also has the canter camo, and I know I'm not saying that right, so I apologize. And moving back, we got a couple of Matildas, again with the same canter camo, which super easy to do. Just use some masking tape, spray paint it green, and put the masking tape over the green and then spray paint it tan. Very simple to do. So this also has two extra turret variants, so these are going to have the light AT gun on it, but we also have this close support turret on it as well, which honestly in bolt action this is the way to go. If you're going to run something, run a howitzer. Lastly, we got our 3 big tanks. So we have a Bishop. This is a self-propelled gun on a Valentine chassis. It's got a fixed superstructure on it, and I believe a 25-pounder in it. So kind of a stopgap weapon. They didn't make too many of them. They weren't very effective, but pretty cool looking vehicle and pretty iconic for the war, as few as they made. Next we have the big boy, the Churchill heavy tank, and this thing is a beast. These are all 148, by the way. That's why they look so big. But yeah, so this is the Churchill. Really cool looking tank. And then lastly we got the M3 Grant, and this thing probably my favorite one I think I did. This is a very unique looking tank. It's just got turrets, and there's another variant that even has another turret on top of the top turret, so that could be a little unwieldy, but overall a really cool looking tank. I like the camo. I just kind of stole that pattern from a tank that I saw online. And that's it. That's the full army. So 2.5 months from box to this, which is a pretty damn fast speed for me to paint something, but my whole intent was to get it done quickly, and here they are. So the next step is going to be getting them onto the board in a game. So we just have to decide what we want to play first with them, and then we'll be going up against the Italians, which I just recently finished as well. So we definitely got 2 really good desert armies and we're ready to do some desert war. So again, I'm happy with the way it turned out. I look forward to getting them on the board as well. So let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you next time.